Good morning, Bonnie. It's nice to see your face.
Right? We have all these interactions with people these days and you don't always meet them. So it is nice to see people's faces.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Yes, well, it's my honor.
And I think we'll get started in just a couple minutes.
Okay.
Waiting on a few more people.
Here, let me. Looks like we're just waiting on one or two more folks to join us. And if you all have cameras, I know a lot of you don't, but if you do and you wouldn't mind turning them on, I would appreciate that.
Okay, now we're recording. I almost had a heart attack as we weren't recording. Okay, good morning. I'd like to introduce Bonnie Hyatt from NorCal Outreach. She's the board secretary and facilitates a lot of their youth programs. So Bonnie, whenever you're ready, thank you so much for being here.
Awesome, Lorraine. Thank you very much for that introduction. I do have some slides, which I'll share screen if that was option. I see it is. There we go. And I apologize. My slide part of my slideshow is not working because I created this at home and I sent it over to the office and it didn't want to cooperate today, but it's still all there. So yeah, thank you, Lorraine. My name is Bonnie Hyatt. My pronouns are she, her. I'm the secretary and youth advisor here at NorCal Outreach Project. We are located here in Reading, but actually very excitingly, we have started to sort of umbrella other LGBTQIA+ centers around us. Just recently, Tehama Outreach has joined our family. So we're definitely living up to the outreach part of outreach in there. And then here's a little information about us, where we are, where we're located, phone number, website. And then I also left on here an easy little click to find our page, as well as our Facebook page. The Facebook page, I tell everybody, if you want to know what's going on here, Facebook is the way to go. We're trying to get into the Instagram world very slowly, but Facebook, we post constantly. There's a few of us to let everybody in the community know what's going on, whether it be resources or fun events. So yeah, those are just some easy clicks I put there for you. A little bit more about the center. Our mission is to support and unite the LGBTQ+ community and its many allies by providing social connection, public events, support groups, and educational training. We strive to be inclusive of all genders and sexualities, celebrate the diversity within our community, practice cultural humility, and foster health and well-being of the people we serve. We seek to improve the lives of everyone by increasing understanding, acknowledgement, visibility, and appreciation of the LGBTQ+ community, thereby making rural Northern California a safer and more accepting place for all. And yes, I am very proud to say that, bringing in other smaller counties in our rural area has been very exciting, and we're living up to our mission in that part too. Here's a picture of the center that we're currently at right now. This picture actually was taken at one of our first food banks. It was back when COVID was kind of full swing and the restrictions were stronger. So it was just kind of a drive-through. See the bags there, and people could just drive through and pick up food. We were formed in 2008 by community members who saw a need. But even a little bit further back, the history goes to Matson murders. The community saw a need for something like this, and so that's really the roots of us. But in 2008, everybody came together and created the name and started popping up in all different kinds of places. The first place where we actually met was Planned Parenthood. So yeah, we have a lot of ties in the community. But in 2003, we were granted nonprofit status. What this does, aside from legitimizes, it really gives us the opportunity to apply for grants. And that is what keeps our doors open, is our grants and our great grant writers too. The first actual brick and mortar center was on Placer Avenue. However, our current home is now here on Victor. And also we are open here on Victor. We've got a lot of changes going on here. We're doing a lot of work trying to get it really ready for people to come in, but we are open Monday through Friday, noon to 4 p.m. Someone is here answering phones, the door's open. You are welcome to come in or send people over if they need to talk or get any of the resources that I will be speaking of today. So here, another little clickable I did for you, which is, we're really proud of this. Our Out for Mental Health Task Force created an LGBTQ plus resource list for the area. And it is a labor of love. It took a long time. We wanted to make sure that the businesses that are on there and the agencies and therapists and doctors, and it's 11 pages long. We just wanted to make sure that we were sending our community to affirming and safe places. So very proud of that. It's a click and you can reach it. I'm going to talk about some of the resources today, but again, it's 11 pages, so I won't go into all of it. And also I can bring some hard copies too by your agents to drop those off. So a little bit more about our services and programs, which I will go into more depth, but one of our biggest assets here is that we've got some trained volunteers that answer phones, answer emails when you come in person, and they're fantastic at resource navigation. A lot of our community, especially our youth and a lot of our parents, they don't know where to go next. They don't know what to do next. And we really pride ourselves on, if we don't know, we're going to find out. So normally we know that. So resource navigation, I can't think of a day that goes by that we don't help someone figure out exactly what resource it is that they're looking for and what they need help with, and then connect them with that resource. We do workshops and trainings. We've got available to community organizations, but I'm super excited. We've got schools that are signing on for this too. So we're going to be getting some safe zone trainings into schools, all the educators, all the staff. Very, very excited about that. But we are just starting back up in, this, I don't want to say post-COVID world, but we are getting there. So more in-person things are happening, and we are doing more of the workshops and trainings. Our most popular being safe zone training. It's a 2 to 3 hour training, and it's extremely comprehensive. And I've prior to getting into the organization and being behind the scenes, I think that's what kind of drew me in was the safe zone trainings. I did several of them, and they're just very eye-opening. So moving out grant projects, like I said, grants keep our doors open, and we have a lot of really generous local organizations. We actually just received a grant from Reading Rancheria. We get a grant from Out for Mental Health, as well as We Breathe. So yeah, those keep our doors open. Community events, the fun stuff we do. We do a week-long Pride in September, and everybody says, well, Pride Month is June, and it is, and we do recognize it, but it's Reading. So we want to celebrate when it's just a little bit cooler. So even though we are popping up doing all kinds of really cool things this month, we saved that week-long celebration for September. And I am happy to announce that this year's Pride will be back in person, almost kind of a hybrid. There will be some more virtual, but I really honestly think that what we learned in COVID is that some virtual does work. So, but our festival will be back in person. We'll have our bridge lighting, all those fun things that the community looks for and makes us visible. And then drag shows. We love our Drag Alliance. They actually help us raise a lot of money as well too. So I want to give a shout out to them. Socials, we're adding more and more these days. We just acquired a movie license, so we're going to have movie nights, game nights, and all of this fun really brings the community together, right? I mean, it is fun, and you do want to have fun, but when you think about the bigger picture and getting people to connect, that's very important. We have 7 support groups, but we're growing. We have ideas for more support groups. We're just looking for facilitators to oversee them. So I guess maybe that's a good problem to have all these ideas that we're moving forward with. I'll talk more about the support groups though. Our monthly food bank. I talked a little bit about that before, but that was started last summer when we saw a need to help and reach out to our community who was being affected by this pandemic, as we all are. And we decided that, that's something we're going to keep on. And we actually won a grant for that as well to fund the food bank. We do it monthly. It's on the 3rd Saturday of every month. But we also have a food pantry here on site. And several community members will come in, and if they just need something to get them to the next grocery shopping day, we've got a pantry full of food where they can shop, as well as personal items too. Shampoo, deodorant, soap, feminine products, things like that. And another thing, we do not ask for any sort of financial information, as well as we do not discriminate with anyone. If you come in and you need something, we have it here. But the food bank is 3rd Saturday every month from 11 to 1. You just drive in. It's actually, that day has been a beacon in all of this, because that was one way that we got to see our community was at food bank. So that will be continuing, as well as our community closet. It is almost ready to go where I want it, but it is usable right now. We have cleared out a space here at the center where we have all kinds of really nice donated clothing, some brand new clothing, shoes, accessories, you name it. And the idea behind it, the dream behind it, is mirrored off of some of the trans closets in the bigger cities that have been popping up and being so successful. So, but the board decided we would call it community closet because we want anybody who would like to come in and do a little shopping to do it. And it's been exciting to see, especially our youth come in. I always wonder, am I putting the right stuff out there for them? But they love it. So community closet, that is kind of a by appointment, so that you've got your own space to really look at the clothes. But if anybody comes in during the hours, absolutely go in and shop at our clothing closet as well. So I'll get into some of our groups that we have here, which seem to be the biggest resource we can really offer. One of them is tea time. We call it tea time. Our facilitator called it that, which I love. And it's support for the LGBTQ plus adults, 18 and up. And right now, this group, and so going forward, I did put all the meeting IDs and passwords in here because for the month of June, we're still virtual. But once July hits, we are going back in person with, of course, with the staying safe restrictions. I know the state opened up yesterday, but ours is, we're still going to follow some guidelines. So, but we are going to be in person in July. So when I talk about these support groups, just know that the time isn't changing, but the location won't be Zoom come July. It'll be here at the center again. We're excited about. So tea time is the first Monday of the month. The reason why we took it from every Monday to the first Monday is we did see a decline in this group during COVID for the virtual meetings. But I have a really good feeling that once we go back in person, this is going to creep back up to maybe every other Monday to eventually every Monday where we were. And it's just a support group for anybody who's in the community. It's led by a really, really fun individual. And yeah, I suggest it to anyone who needs that support, especially that peer support. I can't stress enough how important that peer support is, to feel that you're in a place of belonging. So that's tea time. And then we have the Cool Kids Club. It's support for LGBTQ plus adults that are 50 and up. They kind of went rogue and they started meeting in person already. So that would be our cool kids for you though, right? And they are a support group for anybody 50 and up in the community. They get together. Our facilitator is fantastic and really great conversation. Fantastic baker. Can't say enough good things about his lemon bar. So theirs is a very fun social group. For anyone 50 and over. Got our Love and Tolerance, Alcoholics Anonymous. This is actually facilitated by someone who has an extensive experience running these types of meetings. And we thought that was very, very important. And he does a fantastic job. It's a 12-step recovery. And there's been a lot of talk that we do want to maybe create 2 groups or intertwine 2 groups and bring on an NA as well. We find that really, really important for the community. And for our county too. So that is something that we have been talking about. It is 18 and up, and it is just for LGBTQ plus. Some of our groups are ally welcome, but this one, we want to keep that safety and that sense of community there. So it's our Love and Tolerance. And then we've got Stripes. This is my group. This is the middle school group, which when I signed on to this a couple years ago, there was no one that was coming to a group. And I just thought, with my background with education, I knew there were kids out there. I knew there was. So we gave this group a try again. And I am pleased to say that it is probably our biggest group. The most attendees come to Stripes. And that one for sure will be in person come July. The last couple of months, we've been trying to do some fun stuff outside the center, but still be COVID safe. We rented out the movie theater one day, and that was incredible. Get yourself in a theater full of middle school students, and it will be an awakening in your life. And it's drop in. Most of our kids come every week. And this group, I also want to say, is a good place for allies too, because we find that a lot of children at this age are really thinking about that identity. So we want to invite the allies and those who need that space too to figure out who they are. So that's Stripes. And then right after that, we've got Prism, which is the high school group. That's another really fun group as well. And they went rogue as well and started meeting last week too. So they're in person as well. I want to point out that we put ages 13 to 17. I really do want to change that because the idea is it's a high school group. So if you're in 9th through 12th grade, this is the group for you. And I know that when I was in high school for the last 6 months, I was 18. So I do need to change that. This is high school group. If you're in high school, you are more than welcome here. And our facilitator for this group, she is high energy, so much fun. and so affirming, so affirming. She's the kind of woman that will take the phone call in the middle of the night if one of our kids needs to talk. So this group is very it's a great resource. Gender Quest we have, which is it started out as a safe place for our trans community to meet, but we've kind of, as we've seen in our society, we're kind of umbrellaing with gender fluid, non-binary. So this is a safe place for, yeah, as it says, gender variant and gender questioning adults. This is 18 and up, but this is a really great group as well that takes place. I believe they're going to be meeting in person beginning of July as well. And then we have our Parent Ally Coalition group. And this group was created by one of our mamas. And it is an extremely important group, I think. And I think this is a great resource for your agency as well, too. Because what we find with this group is it's not just parent, and that's why we did the /ally. We have a lot of grandparents, aunts and uncles and siblings, anybody who is looking to learn how to support their LGBTQ person in their life. And it's great because if you have a question, you can ask someone who more likely in this group has been there and had that question as well and has lived that experience. So that raw advice is really a good thing, and it's very supportive. And they actually just started a book club too, so I will be putting that information out. They're a very fun group. They'll be starting in person as well. So I know this isn't a safe zone training. I just wanted to do a couple quick little slides about some things that pop up, questions that pop up to me always. And that's pronouns. And something, that we want to think about is the terms are constantly changing. And sometimes I get those like frustrated questions, about them. Just have to roll with it. It's not that hard. Just a little bit of kindness goes a long way. Sometimes it's difficult to know what is appropriate or could be offensive. And dealing with this issue in a caring and thoughtful way is very important, since for many people, how we use language validates their identity. Ask in an open and respectful way which terms and pronouns are preferred. And if you mess up, just apologize, move on. You make a big deal out of it, it can end up embarrassing the individual, embarrassing yourself. Just a simple apology and move on. So, and a piece of advice that I do have for anybody that I talk to who is questioning, how do I use pronouns, and how can I be sensitive? I always say that when you go into any sort of a new setting, give yours first. Offer yours up first. Hi, I'm Bonnie Hyatt. My pronouns are she, her. And what that does is a couple of things. It starts to normalize that. It starts to break down somewhat of a stigma that I feel like we have in our society right now. And it also shows that you're a safe place, So and then the next question we always get, my daughter, she calls it the alphabet mafia because that just sounds cool to a 14-year-old, right? So these are all those letters that I think a lot of people get a little overwhelmed with. And so just broken down out, the L is for lesbian, the G is for gay, B is for bisexual, T is for transgender, other T is for transsexual, which it is an outdated term and you won't find it being said in the community that often, but it is still in medical and psychological textbooks and curriculum and work. So that is on there. Queer, it's very umbrella term right now. A lot of people prefer to just go by queer, actually. And that's another thing too, is I hear, well, I don't know what letter, there's so many letters. A lot of people go by queer. So that is the Q. The other Q is questioning. As I said, a lot of our youth are are just filling it out and trying to figure themselves out. So that's their Q. The I is for intersect. So allies, the A, as well as the other A is asexual, which is an individual who does not feel sexual desire or attraction to any group. But as I do want to point out that that is a sexual desire, it does not mean anything about a emotional. And then we've got pansexual, which is the way I like to explain it. It's people who are attracted to romantically to all genders. Yeah, that's that crazy, confusing, long letters broken down. It's really not, though. All right, so some of our resources, and again, we have the 11-page resource guide that, you know, has it all in there, but here's a few that I thought would be important for today. We have some local LGBTQ plus affirming mental health resources here. Crisis Residential and Recovery Center, Hill Country Care Center. We do a lot of work with Hill Country. They're pretty great. We love seeing them grow. Shasta County Peer Partners, and then Sunrise Mountain Wellness Center. They offer a lot of workshops that are they're great. They're affirming. So that is our mental health resource list for agencies. But we also here at the center keep a constantly changing list of therapists and counselors in the area in Shasta County, as well as some in Tehama County and Dubuque County. And the reason that we don't post it inside the resource list is, like I said, it's always changing. You know, some therapists are full and they can't take one, or some moved out of the area. So we are constantly, you know, on a monthly basis, checking in on that list and making sure that it is up to date. I find that is very, very important. You know, we want to make sure that we've got the information when they call to let them know what kind of insurance is taken, and you know what the therapist specializes in. So anybody needs that sort of information, just a phone call here to the center, and a new list, a current list can be shared. We have local HIV support and healthcare services. We've got Caring Choices. Shasta Community Health Center has the HIV group there that does a lot of great work for the community, as well as the Shasta HIV Food Bank, and then a list of places for testing. And then legal resources. We just recently connected back with legal resources, and our contact there, Sarah, is fantastic. She actually just recently walked me through a situation we're having with great advice. So we do have affirming legal resources here for our community, should and if they need. Transgender services. Shasta Community Health Center has a transgender clinic, and Planned Parenthood as well can help with things like HRT, and they are both supportive, and we can also help with that as well, walk people through that. I think that's probably one of our most requested, aside from therapists and counselors. I think that transgender services here is probably one of our most requested ways that we help. So, and then I created this because I wanted to point out the importance of confidentiality here at NorCal Outreach Project. All of our volunteers they're actually in the process of a brand new training as well. But they also understand the importance of confidentiality. And this includes anything on the telephone, through email. We take it very, very seriously. So yeah, I just really wanted to stress that again, and for you also to let your client base know too, that we are not just a safe place, but we're confidential, very confidential. And then I will come to the Q&A part of my slideshow. If anybody has any questions, or if I can go a little deeper into some of our resources for you.
I have a question.
Okay.
Can you hear me? I'm Tiffany. I'm the patient advocate. with One Safe Place. My question is, I'm curious, what kind of legal issues besides discrimination could there be?
I have heard that individuals, transgender individuals who are having a hard time with affirming medical care, as well
Yeah.
as receiving their HRT,
Mhm.
is a big issue that comes up for them. That they do tackle that issue quite a bit. And then I think you hit it on the head though with discrimination. A lot of it, they can help you wade through any sort of discrimination that's happening. But
Okay.
Sarah's great.
Yeah,
Sarah's
she
on it.
is. Yeah, I really like her. Yeah,
She taught me so many things. She taught me how to be a better advocate.
yeah. Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. I'll share now. Yeah, and as I was saying too, we have someone here Monday through Friday, noon to 4. So a phone call by anyone or anyone who needs to drop in and just speak face to face. Our email is checked constantly, even between other hours, as well as we get a lot of Facebook messages on Messenger. That's people find that's an easy way to reach out, and we try and really get back to any questions or need for resources as soon as possible. So these are things that you don't want to wait on. So yeah, I see something in the chat. Oh, you're welcome. Pronouns are important. Pronouns are very important.
So can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
When we refer someone to legal services of Northern California, what can they expect in terms of assistance?
Well, you know what? It'll be a different case by case, but I know that if they are LGBTQ, Sarah will be there. Sarah or Amanda will be their go-to person to help them navigate the next steps, where they'll go next. So for the example, the meeting that I had recently, I didn't know what it was. I just knew that something wasn't feeling right. And Sarah was able to send me resources and tell me my next steps. So I would say that it probably would be the same way with anyone else, that they would be able to help them with what should come next, whether it's filing a complaint, whether it's getting the law involved. So that would be my answer for that.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Bonnie, I have a few questions for you.
All right.
I am curious exactly what the referral process might look like if we are working with someone who we know could benefit from your services or one of your groups. How do we get them to you?
Okay, so there's there's different ways, and it really, I think it's whatever people are most comfortable with. If they'd like to come in and see someone in person and come inside the office, close the door, sit down and talk, really important to me. Can you tell I'm working on my BSW? I think that connection is so important. So that is one way they can absolutely come in, and we can talk with them and talk about the next steps and what resources exactly they might need. There might be resources out there that people don't realize that are out there, or realize that would benefit them. So we can help them that way. If people are more comfortable just calling, our office manager is great. He's got a thick resource guide as well up at his desk, and he knows where to send people. Email, if people are more comfortable just doing email, we can send links for resources that way as well. We have some volunteers here that if people just need to talk on the phone, they'll reach out and call them and talk on the phone with them. And again, it's same as in person. They can help navigate what the next steps are and where they need that help. So I guess it really looks different for everyone. My my thing is when anyone reaches out to me, I love to get an appointment with them in person if they feel safe doing that, just so we can talk. But there are some people that they have different ways that they need to connect and get the support. So we'll work around anything that your clients feel comfortable most.
Awesome. Well, I did not know you had that many services, and especially the groups. I'm really excited about the groups. I've been, working with your organization professionally since you were all back at Planned Parenthood, meeting at Planned Parenthood. So it's been a while. But I think it's really important for us to know a little bit more about the Matson Mauter murders. There's a lot of Shasta County residents that don't even realize those happened here in Shasta County, and that did spur a lot of, it was absolutely tragic, but it spurred a lot of good work also, because our community realized, oh my gosh, we need to have more support in place, more education in place. And so I'm glad you mentioned it. And it's coming up on like the 20th anniversary or 20 something anniversary.
It was 1999. It was 1999, so it's coming up on the 22nd.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a long time ago, but yet so many in the community, we remember it like it was yesterday. It was one of those situations where it can't happen in my town. Well, it did. It happened in our town, and thank you for putting that up. Also, we were working with the Shasta Historical Society, and this last weekend we have a great. You can go on their website and see it, and a couple of our volunteers who are personal friends with Gary and Winfield did a piece about them, gave a lot of information about their life, and how incredible they were in the community. And I think it is important to bring the Matson Mauter murders up, because it really did ignite the community, and it showed people who had blinders on that, they really saw the kind of hate that can be, and that that spurred a lot of what we do today.
And, our agency being against violence of any kind, in any kind of relationship, in any kind of scenario. Again, I just think it's important for us to know about it. So I did put a link to more information in the chat box for all of us to read. And we are going to be having a safe zone training in the future with you. So I'm really excited about that. I don't think I've ever experienced a safe zone training, but I did sit in on a 3-hour training with the Stonewall Alliance, I think it is, from
in Chico. Yeah.
And they taught me a lot. Oh my goodness. So, they took that, what did you call it? The
alphabet mafia.
And they really broke it down, and went into depth with us.
Yes.
And it does take time to understand these things and to understand how to use them. And again, I think in the work that we do, we need to be educated and sensitive. And the language we use is important. And I've learned definitely the hard way to never assume. So when I'm talking with someone on the phone, or somebody even walks in the office, I've been very guilty of saying, what's your husband's name, or what's your girlfriend's name? And it isn't a husband, or it isn't a girlfriend. So, rephrasing that to your partner or your significant other, or, whatever you as an advocate are comfortable using, I've found has been very helpful.
I too, I'm human, and I stumble, and I live and breathe a lot of this stuff, and I still do. And I have found that probably the most important thing we can do is give others grace and give ourselves grace. And if our heart is coming from the right place, that will project too. So it's really about educating yourself and then practicing. I just like you, I try and say significant other or your partner, rather than just assume, engendering spouses. So yeah, there's all kinds of ways that, we as allies can be more supportive too. And education, I think, is number one. It's number one. I thank you. Safe zone trainings are fun, aren't they? I was kind of a safe zone training groupie at one point. I just love doing them because I found that every training is different because the group is different. So different questions get brought up and a different energy gets brought up. And I really love with safe zone trainings that, you know, it's a lot of conversation. You know, it's less lecturing and more conversation with me, definitely. You know, I want to know what your questions are and I want to answer them. And you know, I pride myself on being an ally who you can ask those hard questions to, so you have the answers. And you can go out and feel more comfortable that you know that you're not going to have fun. So yeah, safe zone training. I try and make them fun. So brochures, cards, etc. Somewhat Penny messaged in there. I have all kinds of stuff that I can do. I've got paper resource guides. We've got brochures. We've got business cards. I'll put together a whole package of fun stuff for you and bring it by. I will try and bring it by this week. I'm looking at my calendar. I'm like, okay, I could probably do it, but if not, please give me grace if I don't get it to you till next week.
And Bonnie, it might just be helpful too if we could just have that link to those resources for now.
Oh yeah, it's in there in the slide, and I will share the slide with you, Lorraine. Is that the best way to just share it? Okay, perfect. So when this is all over, I will share the slide with you and you can have it, and it's just a click for the resource list. And yeah,
I'll leave it open for any other questions because I don't want to take up all of your time, but I do
oh,
have,
no.
I have two more. Who else has questions for Bonnie?
I like questions. We have some. Oh, thank you for the great presentation. Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me into your space and trusting me to give you these resources. I really appreciate that. That does mean a lot. We have found that with recent things that have happened locally, we're kind of, the center's kind of blowing up. People are realizing that there's a need for it. And we're getting a lot more phone calls. We're sending out a lot more resources. And we're also creating a lot more events for that visibility. You know, the Wolfpack organization, they created that, the flag mural in Umbrella Alley. It was great to go there and read off our proclamation. I call it the proclamation celebration. So I can't stress enough how important the fun stuff can be too, to show that we're visible. We have a community. We're here to support you, good times and bad. And yeah, we've got some fun events coming up. Plant Daddy is holding a Pride event, as well as Tama Pride is this weekend as well. We'll be celebrating the Stonewall anniversary at the end of the month, which had it not been for that first rock, you know, none of us would be here right now. There would still be total repression and maybe even worse. So we'll be celebrating Stonewall. If anyone is interested to come out, we're going to be having a big barbecue celebration at the YMCA. So if you go to our Facebook, all that information will be on there, and we invite the community to come and celebrate with us anytime we do any event.
Okay, I'll ask my two questions real quick.
Okay.
If we have donations for your clothes closet, again, just give you a ring and set that up as to how to.
Right now, it's myself and one other person who is overseeing the clothing closet. So, you know, we go through and wash and press, and we've got it in categories, you know, whether it's winter clothing or summer clothing. So yeah, I'm one of the people who oversee that. So if you do have donations, you can just you can drop them off from noon to 4 or contact me and I can do a pickup. But yeah, that would be fantastic. We're always looking for clothing to refill the closet.
Penny, I can't hear you. Can anybody else hear Penny, or is it just me?
I can't, no.
You're not muted. I don't see the mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So I'm neck deep in our clothing closet today. I was wondering if you had anything specifically that you needed.
Youth. Youth clothing. We get a lot of really great clothing that I get excited when I see it and I want to wear it. But, you know, our 13, 14-year-olds, I think their selection sometimes is a little bit limited. So I'm always looking for youth clothing.
Okay.
Penny?
Okay, my very last question is,
All right, bring it on.
you mentioned something about, you know, being a safe space, and our organization obviously is one safe place, and we want everybody to feel safe to enter our doors, to call our hotline, to, you know, talk with us. Is there anything you can think of that we might be able to do that would definitely let all communities know that they are safe in this space?
Yeah, definitely. And you know, and I tell a lot of, especially educators who ask me this question, that it's actually, there are some simple things you can do. Put up a sticker in your window, a flyer in your window, letting people know that when they enter your space, that they're safe there. I suggest, you know what, I can bring you some things that you may be interested in. One of them is just a safe zone sticker. A lot of people seek out the rainbow. You know, it's kind of become this universal safe symbol. So when you do that before people even enter the space, they know that they're entering somewhere that is safe. Making sure that there are brochures and business cards, if you do have those in a lobby, that there are some from, you know, LGBTQ centers and resources, guides and things like that. You know, my lanyard that I wear, I make sure that I have a pride flag on there. I get a lot of kids, I have connections with a lot of kids just from this $2 button on here, because they know I'm a safe space. They know that if I'm wearing this, that, you know, I get it, I'm there for them. Another thing is in your intake forms, when you offer up not just male, female, you know, as you were saying, maybe, you know, add to, if you say husband or wife, you know, the intake forms are a big deal as well. Because, you know, when you think about it, if you don't have a box to check, what does that say for us subliminally? You know, metaphorically, they don't have a space for me here on this intake form. Do they have a space for me here at this agency? So those are just some really simple ways. Another suggestion, I know you have the hotline and the 24-hour hotline that you do. Maybe if you had some volunteers who were from the community, or at least were affirming and did some different extra trainings, and then offer that up on your hotline as well, so that they're just people that they can connect with, they feel maybe a little safer with. So yeah, it's really, it's not hard stuff. It's being present and listening and making sure that, so you don't have to get it right every time, you know, when it comes to pronouns and things like that, that you are trying. That goes a really, really long.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I'm excited to get you on the calendar for a safe zone training.
Miss Bunny, this is Ann here. I really appreciate your training. It's so much needed. I have several of our clients. I wish I couldn't have this information before to pass it on, but we can wait to get you information here in our office. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot. This is, you know, this really is my life's work. It took me a little while to get here, but this is, you know, to bring inclusion and visibility to this community that I love so much. All right, and then you know, I just want to let you know that If anybody here needs to reach out to me personally, my email is out there, my phone number, which I can be reached here at the center as well too. If anybody ever wants to reach out to me one-on-one and discuss some of these things further, or maybe you had a question that maybe you didn't want to ask today that you'd want to ask one-on-one, I am absolutely all the time here for that as well.
Any other questions for Bonnie? Okay, Lorraine, did you have anything else?
I just want to say thank you so much for being here. We enjoyed
You're
it.
welcome. You're welcome.
A lot
Thank
of
you
good
so much.
information.
Oh, good, good. All right, Lorraine, and I'll send you over the slideshow.
Thank you.
And I'll share, you know, my personal cell as well, should anybody ever need that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right.
Thank-
Well, I hope everybody has a great Wednesday. We're halfway through. The heat's coming back again, but it's Reading. So yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Have a
Bye.
great week.
Bye.